Welcome to my little 1940s South Bend lathe. I was reviewing my designs on this grinder, looking at this adapter that I had. You know, this is a right hand thread on this adapter, and since we're going to go up and over top of the motor, it is going to be spinning in a direction which will unscrew this nut, which isn't ideal for a grinder. I could make a left-handed thread adapter. Don't have a left-handed thread die. I could single point thread it, but for less than 20 bucks, I got the proper left-handed thread adapter to go from the 1/2-inch shaft on the spindle to the 1/2-inch hole in the grinding disc. Now we'll have to shorten this up some to the proper length, but that'll come in time. But this old adapter, I can use that to make our pulley adapter to go from the 1/2-inch shaft to the 5/16 pulley. I have no other plans for making a grinder right now. I've got bench grinders and the like, so no other use to this adapter, so we could turn this down. So right now this should be 1/2-inch. About 1/4 thou under 1/2-inch according to my calipers here. Clearance for the pulley. Now I did check, and this shaft bore is pretty concentric with the outside. If it wasn't, the best way to get the 5/16 diameter to run true to the shaft would be to install a shaft in here and turn this down to 5/16 accordingly. But since our pulley is plastic, not the most precision thing in the world, all cast plastic, molded plastic, nothing machined on it other than maybe the set screw hole has been threaded. I'm sure if we grab a hold of this outside here, this will be plenty fine enough for a belt drive system. So we'll set this up in the this little 6-jaw chuck I got on here. This is one of those steerable chucks, so it runs pretty true. Let's start off by giving this a little clean up here, just to give us a little better surface to chuck onto. So as this is a home hobby shop, we are running off of a homemade phase converter back here, built off of a 10 horsepower 3-phase motor. And it just happens to be right behind the lathe, between the lathe and the mill here, so we'll see what kind of noise this is going to make for the video. So there we go. We got the phase converter running. We should be set up about 370 RPMs here. Give it a little polish. When you use an emery cloth, they always pull it towards you, so if you slip, you come away from the chuck and don't stick your hand in the chuck. Also, don't wrap this around your fingers. I know a guy who lost 2 fingers doing that. There we go. Cleaned up. Should give us a plenty accurate enough surface for what we're doing for this belt pulley. Knock the burrs off it. I don't know if the camera will focus on that or not. It says Craftsman on it. Leave a little stick out there just so we're not running right up to the chuck jaws. Check our clearances. Everything there looks good. Now this is a little bent. Take a little skim cut here, see what it would look like. Before we get into it, we always want to check our feed directions. We're feeding in reverse there. Let's flip this around. Okay, let's try that again. Up here, and there we go. Now we're feeding the right direction. Before we get too carried away, make sure you wear your PPE. Touch off on that. Give it a little bit of oil. That doesn't look too bad, but let's slow that speed down just a touch here. Okay. We'll give a 10th out to start to see where we're at. Feed a little better than that, a little quicker. Give us a little measurement. Now that's cleaned up. So we've got 474. So 474. So we'll come down about 125, and then we'll give it another check. Get us within about 30-40 grand. Okay. So yep. Not really any taper in there, so we're probably about 310 and a tenth. So we're 2 thou and 4/10 undersized. And that's just fitting on there. I think we're going to leave it at that. Now, smart machinist or somebody doing this for an income would have seen that this order of operation was wrong. I should have cut this to length first, and then we wouldn't have had it turned down so much, you know, it would have taken less time. And so this is about, we'll call it 680 thousandths long. Well, if we take it to 3/4, that'll give us a nice little stick out there. So the shaft is outside of the pulley. We'll set our parting tool roughly square. That. Sure, we're on center. We are pretty close. Now we'll just eyeball this. We'll just eyeball this. You see there. .48/64. 3/4. Lock carriage. Let's kick this down. Kick this down a speed here. Like that. Lock away. Now, advantage of this tool post over the original lantern holder is now a little chamfering tool on here. Myself a good chamfer. There we are. So we'll bring it back down here real quick. Here's our motor. Here's our adapter. So that'll slide onto there. Like that. And we'll tighten these screws up. Tighten down the grub screw and the pulley there. And that should take care of the drive. Okay, here's where we stand right now. I was able to get this frame welded together. This is admittedly the first project where I've ever welded aluminum together. So I did struggle some, and of course I'm not going to show you my welding in case you pick up any bad habits from me. There are much better channels to learn how to weld from, like AM Custom Fab. He's the channel who turned me on to the TIG welder that I'm using now, or Welding Tips and Tricks. He also has a lot of useful information and a lot better information than I can provide. I'm not affiliated with those channels, but they're channels that I find helpful. I think I had some problems with some cleanliness in my aluminum here. It was used aluminum, and I also had a lot of difficulties attaching this thinner aluminum onto this thick aluminum plate, but I got it done, and it's fairly steady. I'll shake the whole tripod. So we got that together. I shortened the spindle shaft up on the lathe with the cutoff tool. I wanted to recess this wheel as close as I possible to this face here. So to take up some of the length of the adapter that holds this on, I run up some spacers for the bearing that's back behind here, just to move the bearing back slightly from the face and give a little more room to absorb some of the offset of this adapter. There's no disc on here, just the backer plate at the moment. I did do some preliminary wiring on this. I'll take this all back apart, Loctite all the critical components, and paint this before it's finalized. Pull the switch towards you, turn it on, push it away from you, turn it off, so that way if something happens, all you gotta do is hit that switch away from you, and it'll turn it off. And even though there is no belt tensioner, as this top spindle rotates pretty freely, it does turn without the belt being tensioned properly. We've got a little run out in this wheel here. It's not quite sitting on the face of the adapter. I think I got to put a little bigger chamfer on it to get sitting on that face, and that should get rid of that little bit of wobble that you might be able to see in the video here. So our next task will be to install this belt tensioner here. Come from the side here and use it to tension this belt. It'll also give us a little better contact on that small 1-inch pulley on the bottom. Give us give almost 180 degrees of contact on the belt. Run up some kind of bracket to go behind it to mount this little pulley on, and then push it into a belt with another set screw or threaded rod or something similar like that. But that'll be for the next video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, I appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button. Consider subscribing and maybe even share this. Thanks.